Hey Emerson Eagles, this video is going to be chapters 7 and 8 of My Father's Dragon by Ruth Stiles Gannett. If you haven't listened to chapters 1 through 6 yet, make sure you go back and watch those videos first so that you know what has been happening in the story. Okay, and while we read today, I want you making sure that you're working really hard to do all the things that good readers do, like making text-to-self connections where we think about how is this book like our real lives, making text-to-text connections where we think about how is this book reminding me of other books or other stories I've heard. We're making inferences, which is where we think about the things that the author isn't saying, the clues they're giving us, in our own experiences to understand the story better. We're also visualizing, which means we're making a picture in our brains, in our imaginations of what might be happening in the story, and we're wondering while we listen to the story. We're thinking of questions that we have, things that we're curious about, so that you can be learning while you listen to this story. Okay, so let's make sure we're doing all the things that good readers do as we listen to chapters 7 and 8. So, chapter 7, My Father Meets a Lion. My father waved goodbye to the rhinoceros, who was much too busy to notice, got a drink farther down the brook, and waited. Has tricked a lot of animals. I'd save you for afternoon tea, but I happen to be When my father tied the ribbon, he was all smiles. "Oh, that's wonderful, really wonderful," said the lion. "Let me have the comb and brush and see if I can do it." So my father gave him the comb and the brush, and the lion began busily grooming his mane. As a matter of fact, he was so busy that he didn't even know when my father left. Chapter 8. My Father Meets a Gorilla. My father was very hungry, so he sat down under a baby banyan tree on the side of the trail and ate 4 tangerines. He wanted to eat 8 or 10, but he only had 13 left, and it might be a long time before he could get more. He packed away all the peels and was about to get up when he heard the familiar voices of the boars. Remember, boars are these kinds of animals. "I wouldn't have believed it if I'd seen them with my own eyes, but wait and see for yourself. All the tigers are sitting around chewing gum to beat the band. Old Rhinoceros is so busy brushing his tusk that he doesn't even look around to see who's going by, and they're all so busy they won't even talk to me." "Horse feathers," said the other boar, now very close to my father. "They'll talk to me. I'm going to get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do." I want you to stop right now and make an inference. Remember, an inference is where you use clues from the text and things you already know to understand what the author isn't telling you. So think about how the boars are talking, what you already know about how they feel, and think about what would their voices sound like? Would they sound angry, excited, happy? What do you think they're sounding like right now? I'm using my inference skills to think that they might sound kind of angry or even a little bit mean right now because they don't want an invader on their island. The voices passed my father and went around a curve, and he hurried on because he knew how much more upset the boars would be when they saw the lion's mane tied up in hair ribbons. Before long, my father came to a crossroads and he stopped to read the signs. Straight ahead, an arrow pointed to the beginning of the river on the left, the ocean rocks, and to the right, the Dragon Ferry. My father was reading all these signs when he heard paw steps and ducked behind the signpost. A beautiful lioness paraded past and turned down toward the clearings. Although she could have seen my father if she had bothered to glance at the post, she was much too occupied looking dignified to see anything but the tip of her own nose. That means she was walking very proudly. It was the lion's mother, of course, and that, thought my father, must mean that the dragon was on this side of the river. He hurried on, but it was farther away than he had judged. He finally came to the riverbank in the late afternoon and looked all around, but there was no dragon anywhere in sight. He must have gone back to the other side. Here's a picture of the lioness. My father sat down under a palm tree and was trying to have a good idea when something big and black and hairy jumped out of the tree and landed with a loud crash at his feet. "Well," said a huge voice. "Well, what?" said my father, for which he was very sorry when he looked up and discovered that he was talking to an enormous or very large and very fierce gorilla. "Well, explain yourself," said the gorilla. "I'll give you till 10 to tell me your name, business, your age, and what's in that pack." And he began counting to 10 as fast as he could. My father didn't even have any time to say, "Elmer Elevator, Explorer," before the gorilla interrupted. "Too slow. I'll twist your arms the way I twist that dragon's wings, and then we'll see if you can't hurry up a bit." He grabbed my father's arms, one in each fist, and was just about to twist them when suddenly he let go and began scratching his chest with both hands. "Blast those fleas," he raged. "They won't give you a moment's peace, and the worst of it is that you can't even get a good look at them. Rosie, Rhoda, Rachel, Ruthie, Ruby, Roberta, come here and get rid of these fleas on my chest. It's driving me crazy." 6 little monkeys tumbled out of the palm tree, dashed to the gorilla, which means they ran very quickly, and began combing the hair on his chest. "Well," said the gorilla, "it's still there." We're looking," said the 6 little monkeys, "but they're awfully hard to see, you know." I know, said the gorilla, but hurry, I've got work to do. And he winked at my father. Oh, gorilla, said my father, in my knapsack I have 6 magnifying glasses. They'd be just the thing for hunting fleas. My father unpacked them and gave one to Rosie, one to Rhoda, one to Rachel, one to Ruthie, one to Ruby, and one to Roberta. Why, they're miraculous, said the 6 little monkeys. It's easy to see the fleas now, only there are hundreds of them. And they went on hunting frantically. A moment later, many more monkeys appeared out of a nearby clump of mangroves and began crowding around to get a look at the fleas through the magnifying glasses. They completely surrounded the gorilla, and he could not see my father, nor did he remember to twist his arms. There's the fleas. Alright, and that is the end of chapter 8. I want you to keep using your wondering skills to think about what might happen in chapters 9 and 10.